When we understand that the mind is the container of our future, the process of transformation stops being a simple accumulation of desires and becomes an absolute restructuring of our identity. The great mistake most people make when searching for a life of abundance is trying to change their results without first altering their internal frequency. They look for the blessing outside, begging for opportunities, knocking on doors that do not belong to them, exhausting themselves in human effort, without realizing that true divine provision is not something you chase, but something you attract when you become the right person. God does not operate under the terms of human need, but under the terms of spiritual preparation. If your internal container is still configured under patterns of fear, scarcity, and past trauma, any blessing that falls into your life will leak and disappear through the cracks of your own insecurity. To sustain the weight of the glory and prosperity that await you, it is mandatory that you understand the process of purification and expansion you are going through at this exact moment. Seasons of drought, those moments where the sky seems like brass and your prayers do not seem to pass the ceiling, are not a divine punishment. You have not been forgotten, nor has your purpose been cancelled. Drought is the most effective method the Creator uses to tear out incorrect dependencies by the roots. When you are surrounded by resources, it is very easy to confuse the provision with the provider. You lean on your job, you lean on your connections, you lean on your human talents or the praise of others. But when all of that is reduced to nothing, when you are left alone with your thoughts in the middle of the night, that is where the true nature of your faith is tested. In that absolute silence, God is asking you if you are capable of believing in the invisible when the visible tells you that you are finished. Those who are destined to rule in life, those who will walk in an abundance that surpasses all understanding, are processed in anonymity. If you cannot be faithful in the desert, guarding the tiny spark of hope you have left, you will never be able to manage the fire of an entire forest. Preparation is painful because it demands the death of your old version. You have to let go of the slave mentality that settles for the crumbs of day-to-day life, to claim the inheritance that was already laid out for you before the foundation of the world. This process of maturation leads us directly to the core of the divine strategy, the law of sowing in invisible ground. Modern society has conditioned us to seek instant gratification. We want to sow the seed in the morning and harvest the fruit in the afternoon, and if we do not see immediate results, we assume the effort was in vain. But the principles that govern the spiritual universe are unshakable and are not guided by the clock of human anxiety. When you decide to maintain an attitude of faith, when you decide to bless those who curse you, when you decide to work with excellence in a job where you are not valued, you are depositing seeds in a celestial bank that no human being can expropriate. Every act of integrity you perform when no one is watching, every time you swallow your pride to maintain peace in your home, every night you spend on your knees battling your own internal demons instead of complaining to the world, you are accumulating a weight of blessing that sooner or later must manifest in the physical realm. Abundance is not a random event. It is a mathematical result of the spirit. It is the accumulation of correct decisions aligned with divine purpose. Therefore, do not grow weary in doing good. Do not allow yourself to fall into the cynicism of this world that says honest people always lose. That is the enemy's ultimate deception to make you stop your sowing. The enemy does not fear your words. He fears your consistency. He knows perfectly well that if you stand firm, if you refuse to move from your position of expectation, you are forcing the laws of provision to activate in your favor. A day will come, and it is closer than you imagine, where all those silent seeds will germinate at the very same time, and the harvest will be so abundant that you will not have enough room to store it. Your job is not to figure out how the miracle will happen or where the resources will come from. Your only job is to keep the soil of your heart clean, free from the weeds of bitterness and resentment, so that when the divine rain descends, it finds a fertile ground ready to bloom. For that soil to remain fertile, it is fundamental to develop a discipline that few manage to master: the absolute control of the atmosphere you allow around you. You cannot expect to live a life of victory if you spend your days surrounded by people who have a mentality of defeat. Faith is contagious, but doubt and complaining are even more so. People who complain constantly act like magnets for misfortune. They validate their own miseries through their words and look for everyone around them to join their chorus of self-pity. You have to be extremely selective with what you let enter your ears and your eyes. Those who are going to live in abundance guard their minds as the most sacred treasure because they understand that from it flows life. This implies, many times, walking alone during a stretch of the journey. It implies walking away from trivial conversations, from gossip, from news designed exclusively to sow terror in your chest, and from friendships that only seek you out to consume your energy. Strategic isolation is not selfishness. It is the preservation of purpose. When you step away from the crowd, you allow the voice of the Creator to become clearer than the noise of the world. It is in that space of stillness where you receive creative ideas, business strategies, wisdom to restore your health, and the precise direction to take the next step. The greatest fortunes, the most impactful ministries, and the most fulfilling lives were not born in the middle of the buzz of social approval. They were born in the intimacy of a human being who decided to agree with God and reject the limits that society wanted to impose. Do not shrink your dreams to fit into the small minds of others. Let them think you are crazy. Let them say you are delusional. Your flight level is not determined by the opinion of the chickens walking on the ground, but by the strength of the wings the Creator gave you to soar into the heights like eagles. Rising like eagles also requires a deep understanding of the concept of divine order in finances and general well-being. True abundance is not measured by the amount of money you have in the bank, but by the control that money has over you. If your happiness depends on a bank balance, you are still a slave, just in a golden cage. God does not bless people so they can accumulate wealth with the sole purpose of feeding their ego or vanity. He blesses people so they can become channels of blessing for others. The flow of prosperity is like a river. If the water stops and stagnates, it rots and breeds disease. But if the water flows freely, it gives life to everything it touches along its path. When you adopt a channel mentality, where you understand that everything you receive is to be managed with wisdom, generosity, and purpose, you are proving to the universe that you are a reliable partner for its plans on earth. Then, scarcity ceases to be a threat in your life because you know that the source from which your sustenance comes is inexhaustible. It does not matter if the world economy collapses. It does not matter if markets fall or if interest rates rise. You do not depend on the system of this world. You operate under the system of the kingdom, where generous sowing always produces a multiplied harvest. This absolute certainty grants you a peace that confuses the wise of this age. While others run desperately, consumed by the anxiety of the future, you can rest at night with the smile of someone who knows their tomorrow is already secured by a promise that cannot fail. That peace is the first real indicator that abundance has already settled inside your being, setting the stage for material things to manifest simply as an inevitable consequence of your internal state. This radical transformation forces us to confront the biggest obstacle on the path to fulfillment, the subconscious attachment to the invisible loyalties of the family past. Many human beings carry with them a legacy of lack that does not belong to them. They grew up hearing that money is evil, that life is a constant struggle where only a chosen few can succeed, or that their family is destined to suffer the same diseases and failures from generation to generation. These statements become invisible prisons that limit human potential. Breaking these chains requires a supreme act of spiritual courage. You must make the conscious decision to be the redeemer of your family line, the link that stops the curse of scarcity and begins the dynasty of abundance. This is not achieved with superficial desires. It is achieved through the daily renewal of your mind, through the living word and internal conviction. You have to speak to your past and declare that its authority over your present has expired. You have to look in the mirror and see not the wounded child who suffered from the lack of resources, but the empowered adult who has been anointed to open paths where before there were only retaining walls. Every time you conquer a thought of inferiority, you are freeing not only your future, but also the future of the generations that will come after you. The greatest inheritance you can leave your children is not a full bank account, but a mind completely free from limitations. When they see you walk with that unshakable security, when they witness how you transform problems into opportunities and how the favor of God surrounds you like a shield, you will have sown the seed of greatness in them, ensuring that the legacy of abundance does not end with you, but expands toward horizons you did not even reach to glimpse. Maintaining this elevated vision demands meticulous attention to daily details, specifically to the way we handle the small tests of integrity that life constantly presents us. It is very easy to talk about great principles when we are at the top of the mountain, but true maturity is proven in the valley of the everyday. How do you treat the person serving you in a restaurant when they make a mistake? How do you manage money that is not yours when no one is watching you? Do you keep your word, even when it costs you sacrifice, and you get no apparent benefit? These small daily decisions are the hidden exams that determine if you are ready for divine promotion. The Creator observes behavior in the little things before trusting the big things. If you are negligent, dishonest, or arrogant with the small resources and few responsibilities you have today, you are closing the door yourself to the grand stages of tomorrow. Excellence is not an isolated act. It is a habit of the spirit. Those who walk in divine favor and abundance perform every task, no matter how insignificant it seems, as if they were doing it directly for the Most High. They clean their house with care, organize their finances with precision, show up to their work punctually, and treat every human being with the respect that a divine creation deserves. This attitude attracts favor in an almost magnetic way. People in positions of authority notice it. Opportunities start looking for you, and doors that previously required years of effort to open before you by the simple weight of your character. Character is the structure that sustains success. Without a solid character, material prosperity becomes a curse that destroys the individual. That is why God takes so much time molding your character in secret, making sure that when the blessing arrives, you have the necessary foundations of rock, not to be swept away by the wind of pride or complacency. By consolidating this character of rock, we enter the phase of fine-tuning with divine intuition, that gentle whisper that guides the steps of the righteous in moments of greatest uncertainty. The world moves by data analysis, statistics, and logical projections, and while these tools have their value on the human plane, they are completely limited compared to divine omniscience. Those who live in the abundance of the Spirit have learned to develop a special sensitivity to listen to instructions that do not come from human logic. Sometimes that internal voice will tell you to leave a project that seems highly lucrative, or it will urge you to make an investment at a time when all the experts advise withdrawing. Following this guidance requires a radical faith, because it will often force you to contradict the common sense of the world. However, obedience to that intuition is what marks the difference between exhausting effort and supernatural flow. When you walk in obedience, you find yourself in the right place at the right time with the right people without having consciously planned it. It is what the world calls coincidence or luck, but what we in the kingdom know as divine synchronicity. God moves the pieces of the global board to favor those whose hearts are completely aligned with Him. He can cause a person who does not even know you to feel an uncontrollable urge to help you in your project, or He can cause a contract that seemed lost to return to your hands with better conditions. You do not need to exhaust yourself competing with others or trying to snatch opportunities by force. Your position does not depend on human competition, but on divine favor. And when the favor of God is upon you, no one can take away what has your name printed by the finger of the Creator. This absolute certainty in divine favor completely dispels the poison of envy and comparison, two of the greatest destroyers of peace of mind and abundance in the contemporary world. When you look at another person's success and feel a small sting of frustration or bitterness inside, you are unconsciously declaring that the resources of the universe are limited and that someone else's success reduces your chances of succeeding. This is the ultimate trap of the scarcity mentality. Those who have awakened to true abundance celebrate the success of others with authentic joy, because they understand that the blessing of their neighbor is living proof that the provider is still active, healing, and prospering on earth. If God did it for them, He definitely can and wants to do it for you. Comparison is a thief of energy that distracts you from your own lane. While you spend time observing someone else's harvest, you neglect the seed in your own hands. Every human being has a unique design, a specific assignment, and a divine calendar that is not governed by social expectations. That someone else is harvesting now does not mean you have failed. It simply means your seed is still absorbing the necessary nutrients under the earth to bear a much more resilient and durable fruit. Focus all your attention, your love, and your passion on cultivating the garden that has been entrusted to you in this season. Water your dreams with words of faith, pull out the weeds of negative thoughts, and keep your gaze fixed on the author of your life. When you free yourself from the need to compete or prove anything to anyone, you experience a spiritual lightness that accelerates your progress exponentially, allowing you to advance with a firm and secure stride toward the destiny of glory that has been prepared exclusively for you. This firmness of stride manifests finally in a radical transformation of your daily language, turning your words into decrees of life and order in the middle of chaos. Most people use language simply to describe their current reality. I am tired, I don't have money, everything is so difficult. By doing this, they act as reporters of their own misery, trapping themselves in an infinite loop where their words reinforce their reality and their reality generates more words of scarcity. But you must learn to use your words not to describe what you see, but to call into existence that which is not yet seen but has already been promised in the spiritual plane. Words are containers of creative power. They have the capacity to build up or tear down, to open doors or close them completely. Begin to prophesy over your own life in the mornings with an authority that makes doubts tremble. Declare that your paths are illuminated, that divine wisdom guides every single one of your decisions, that your body overflows with health and vitality, and that the favor of God goes before you, opening doors that no man can shut. It does not matter if your bank account shows otherwise at this moment. It does not matter if the symptoms of sickness persist in your body. You are not guided by what your physical senses dictate, but by the immutable truth of the divine promise. By aligning your language with the frequency of abundance, you are reprogramming the cells of your body, expanding the capacity of your mind, and establishing a spiritual order in your environment that forces physical circumstances to align with your confession of faith. This is the secret of those who live in abundance. They do not wait for reality to change, to speak with victory. They speak with victory until reality has no choice but to transform before the strength of their internal declaration.